All right, let's get into this season of Ready to Love. I believe this is the Dallas edition, episode 6. I should know all of this while I'm trying to do this review. But anyway, the ladies met the men's exes. It was the ladies up for elimination this week. And now I feel like we're really getting into the meat and potatoes of it all. Like, I feel like once Tommy starts having the men or women bring somebody, from their personal life, that's when we start to get into it. Like when they bring the exes, when they bring like the best friend, and then obviously, the family later. That's when it gets juicy, and that's what happened this episode. There's a lot to unpack. So, a lot of ladies getting to meet multiples. Um, well, I don't know. I feel like maybe I should say because it's the men that were doing the elimination. A lot of men, no, I had it right. A lot of women getting to meet multiple exes, and the ones that only met one, it was telling. So, the first one we saw was with Marie, Janelle, and Jessica. And Maria gets on my nerves. I can't stand the way that he dresses. Like, when I saw the way he dressed, like he was going to play basketball, I'm just like, do you not know the women that you are pursuing? Because Janelle and Jessica, they always get pretty dolled up in a way. And so, the guys always kind of prep their ex before the ladies come. And, Marie was basically trying to get his ex to do his dirty work because he wanted to know about sexual things. He wanted to let them know about his spirituality, which something like that I find to be very interesting that they didn't know that or have an idea of it before now. Because to me, when you're having someone on this show meet your ex, you've established some great connection. So things like that, you would know. You would tell them. But then it's also kind of like, well, did Janelle and Jessica not mention what was like really important to them, which they expressed here about their religion? And that would have been his way of letting them know, well, I'm more on the spirituality. And I'm like, well, you can go Katarina then, because Katarina said the same thing, that she's not really a religious person. But anyway. And so telling his ex, he was like, trying to get that. She's like, oh, I got you. You chose the wrong two women to try to get about this information, because I feel like I've never seen an ex, date like this go so south. Like, you could feel the immediate dial down of the energy. I'm almost thinking like, well, Marie's gonna go home, but I forget. No, this is the men's turn. But Marie would be gone in a heartbeat if it was there, if it was the men's turn. But everything was fine. They were vibing about, oh, I'm 41. And Janelle's like, oh, I'm 41 too. And, it was vibing. And then she asked about, and she looked at Marie, which I was like, ooh. And maybe they peeped that. Let's think about it. Maybe the girls peeped this because when she was about to ask the question about their like sexual energy, basically, she looked at Marie and then looked at them. And keep in mind, they can see her. So I'm feeling like they peeped that she made an eye to him, which to them meant, oh, you asked her to do this or something. I don't like that. And I do think now affection is one thing. Like, how affectionate are you? Like, are you someone that can hug, be a shoulder, just give that good love that they need if things are tough, versus sexual? Like, how intimate do you get? To me, that's not the kind of question that an ex needs to be asking, because any ex, I don't need you delving into my sexual interests, my past. That is my own conversation to have with my current person. That's not for you to bring up, because I feel like if an ex brings up sex in any kind of way, it's on their mind with them from the person that they used to be with. I don't know. I'm just making that connection. But as soon as she did, Janelle was turned off, Jessica was turned off. I thought Jessica was gonna cuss her out, to be honest. Like, she was not, you could tell she was holding her tongue. There was a lot more that she wanted to say that she did it. I think because she's not one of the ladies in the lounge in this journey, she was trying to be respectful, because we've seen her go off twice. But let's be honest, if it was another time, another place, she would have gone off on her. They both were just like, no, sis, this ain't the question you need to be talking with us about. So then she moves on to the next topic of hurt, and that is I can't remember. I think she said metaphysics or something, but she said meta something. And that's something that Marie is about. And Jessica was like, wait, what? Since when? And so she pulled out the tarot cards. And again, Janelle was immediately turned off. Like, it was just like, like, she said a lot without saying a lot, but she said, you can read. No, you're not reading me. So she read Jessica. I forget what she said, intuition, but then she asked them about, well, where does that stand for y'all with knowing how he is? And they both were like, absolutely not. Like, we not about that. Judge Janelle definitely went in on it. She was like, I think she said, like, dibble dabble into the occult and just some other. She just was like, no. Like, it is all religious up in here. And Jessica said the same thing. And like I said, I forgot that it was the women up for elimination, because immediately this would have been Marie to be going home. But yeah, he was like, oh, wait, this went wrong. And then, he was saying how it went wrong when the tarot cards came out. No, it went wrong when she brought up sex, basically. Like, that's where it went wrong, brother. You need to read the room a little better. But, and then it's funny because she, usually, here's the thing. Usually if a guy or a girl has an ex meeting too, they ask, which one. And that was not the case, because it was clear it was neither. Neither wanted you, and neither could you say was for you more. And Jessica, I understood meeting, but not Janelle. But, so anyway, we move on to Quentin with his ex, and they met Lee and Janelle, and they cut it back and forth between the other one, which was, Chris and his ex, and she met Janelle. No, she met Jessica and Aries. So with Quentin and his ex, basically, the biggest takeaway from theirs, because it wasn't much, was Lee, because Lee got very offended that Quentin admitted to ghosting her. And I don't know if she was offended. I mean, she said that she didn't like that he said that in front of Janelle, another, basically her competition. And I think because she knows that Janelle would be quick to shout out weaknesses, like, well, he don't like you, or he said this. I don't think she wanted her to have ammo. But for the most part, I don't know if she was upset, like if it triggered her being told that in front of like a competition like that, or that she just didn't know and she was offended. Because, I think Lee to me exudes someone who knows who looks good. Because the way that she talks, it's very like, I'm not doing much because look at me. Because she just be saying a bunch of nothing to me. Like, she has said, I think, 2 or 3 times about fun and enjoying life, and I don't get that at all. Like, I feel like she's uptight. I feel like she's boring, and I feel like she gives nothing. And it's very telling for the shift in what we've seen between Lee and Quentin, because this is our second time seeing them together. And the first time they were, having an amazing date, I was like, oh, I see it. And then moving to him talking about with her, it feels like they're already together, to now, oh, I ghosted her. And she's so offended. She's just like, she went mute. And you see, when they were walking out, you saw Quentin with his hand on Janelle's hip. So I don't think Lee liked being rejected because, like I said, she dresses like and she acts like she's all that in a bag of chips. We all know green is her favorite color. She gonna wear green and she don't wear nothing else. So from that, I really do see her being up for elimination the next women's round, because I don't think there's anyone else who is interested in her other than possibly Quentin. And I think even Quentin is not really feeling her going in a shell like that. So going back to Chris, now I found this to be really interesting too. Janelle been on the two most interesting ones, but Aries came in first, and it was like, good vibes. Then Janelle came in, and his ex was so turned off, and you could tell. And it didn't help that they were sitting by each other. They kind of favored each other in looks to me. I got like they could be sisters or cousins or something, and so basically with Chris's situation, his ex said that he didn't want to make me a wife. And all the support that I had to give to him, he, like, because Janelle listed all these different things, because his ex was saying how you need to be able to support. And so Janelle was like, well, does that mean you taking a break? Does that mean you helping him out? And she said some other stuff. And she was like, yes to all the above. And then she was like, well, did you get it in return? And she said, no. Like, she said, essentially, I was a servitude to him. And, I'm like, well, dang, Chris, what kind of man were you? So I know he has a business or a company. So I'm wondering if if this was what it was. Like, it wasn't going well, or he was having a hard time, like, really getting it up. And so he needed that, and he wasn't able to be a boyfriend. And so she gave him all the support, almost like she helped him come up from the ground. And when he got successful, he left her in the dust. Because there was something about her energy that made me feel like she still wants him. She still wants him. And I think the fact that Jessica favored her in the face, they look, like I said, they had the same, like, long hair, a lot of makeup on the face, similar body type. So, yeah, but his ex preferred Aries because they liked her softness. Oh, and Quentin's ex preferred Janelle. Well, I don't know if she even said Janelle. She just said that Lee just disappeared. So they said Janelle without saying Janelle. But Jessica was turned off by hearing that, because I think she's already feeling some type of way that Chris, last episode wanted her to be softer. And she was like, what do you mean? Like, this is me. And then now, so first you want me to be soft. Now you're almost expecting me to be a servant to you and to be there for you, but you're not going to give it back? Ooh. So there was that date. And then we saw Janelle and Herbert. They had a date. And notice Herbert didn't include Sierra. And after that, I was like, is Sierra not going to go on a date? Because who else is feeling her? Like, because we only saw her go on a date with Herbert. We didn't see her go on a date with anybody else. And the only other guy that I remember seeing her talk to was Marvin, and he's gone. So it was like, is Kiera really not going to be in this episode? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. But anyway, so with Herbert, I don't know. I don't really care for Herbert. He just gives me lazy vibe. He doesn't want to try. I want him to go. Like, I don't know. Between him and Maria, y'all can go. Y'all don't do nothing. You sit back. You expect to be coming to. You expect to be bended for. Like, I think Maria expects Janelle or Jessica to basically do what he get on board with his lifestyle. And it ain't that. So anyway, I mean, it was fun. I think Janelle was just annoyed at that point. Now, we obviously don't know the true order of when they do these dates, but this could have genuinely actually been the third one for Janelle because she was over it. She was over it before she started. I think she's over Herbert. I think she's annoyed with how slow he moves, annoyed with his lack of communication. So it was like she came just to come, but for the most part, she really did not want to be there. So then we see Phil, and I forgot that he had a thing for Katrina, which I was surprised that Herbert didn't have Katrina meet his ass, because I thought that they were vibing pretty good when they were out a couple episodes ago as a 4 date with him, her, Janelle, and Quentin. But so Phil had Aries, and then he had Katarina, and then Kira. And I was like, oh, here's Kira. Let me tell you this. You can't convince me one bit that the producers knew Kira was going home. Like, she was going home. But it couldn't be that obvious if she didn't go on a date. So I feel like they came to the guys and said, look, one of y'all needs to take her out. Please. And Phil just said, I'll do it. It's not going to change nothing, but I'll do it. Because if it wasn't Herbert, who was the only, like I said, the only person she had to date with in the last couple episodes, then who else could it have been? And I guess Herbert said, no thanks. No thanks. I ain't playing games. So, but, it was interesting that Aries got to meet Phil's ex solo while Katarina and Kira did it together. I'll be honest. Seeing that his ex was white, I thought Kira was going to get a real big kick out of it, but she didn't. She didn't say nothing because she knew she didn't have nothing with him. So when they're in the men's lounge and they're talking, and I forgot, Maria and Sierra, they met with his ex, same one. It was okay. I just don't really see it romantically, but it's there. So anyway, they get in the men's lounge and they're talking about who they aren't feeling, and I'm hearing a lot of Lee, I'm hearing a lot of Sierra. At first they weren't saying Kira, and I was like, I know y'all are not leaving Kira out because I know y'all don't like her. And then they did. Then they really got in on it. And I actually thought it was going to be Lee up for elimination. Not that she was going to go home, but I thought she would have been up in the bottom with Kira. But it was Sierra. And, Kira obviously got sent home. She tried to pull I'm going to quit before you fire me. More so like, oh, I'm relieved. Because she said it, I'm relieved. I don't have to pretend, or I don't have to do this or that. And it was like, goodbye. Goodbye. You're weird. You're annoying. You're fake. Goodbye. So that was the episode. I do think... because next it'll be the men. I could see it being between Herbert and Maria, and I definitely think it's going to be Maria to go home. And then after that, I think it'll be Sierra, because I think we're going to possibly see something unfold between Quentin and Lee. Like, I don't see Sierra lasting past Lee. So we're at a point where I feel like I can maybe say what's what. I think we'll most likely see Quentin and Janelle, and Chris And so I'm not sure who's going to pick Aries. Is it going to be Phil or is it going to be Chris? I feel like it's going to be Phil. But I see Chris possibly picking Jessica, but then I don't. So as of now, those are my three. So that means Lee, Sierra, Herbert, and Marie and Katarina. Goodbye. I forgot about Katarina. Like, she was non-existent pretty much in this episode. But I see Marie going home next. And then when it's the women's turn, I think it'll be Sierra to go next. Then for the men, I think it'll be Herbert. Then back to the women. I think they're going to do another double elimination, and it's going to be Lee and who's the other one? Katarina. And then one of the women's going to have to get plucked off because, well, I don't know. It just depends on, I could see Jessica and Chris coming together and then saying no thanks. So we'll see. We'll see.